This is the Dollemore Daily, and I'm Jesse Dollemore. Donald Trump's oldest child. There's something wrong. There's something wrong there. There's something off with Don Jr. Right now, he's in the middle of trying to build some kind of a media presence on Rumble or one of those right-wing offshoot poor man YouTube outlets. And he has this little show where he waves his hand wildly. Now, listen, coming from somebody who gesticulates pretty wildly in his normal conversation with regular humans in an interactive way, but also here on the YouTubes, who am I to throw stones? But what's really strange about Don Jr. is that I think that he thinks it lends credibility to the things he says while using air quotes for several seconds straight for no particular reason, really not quite understanding what air quotes means is what Don Jr. really likes to do. And it's weird. More weird and more dangerous is the fact that he is part of this entire right-wing movement to rewrite the day of January 6th, to whitewash the history of it. He's going a step further than even Tucker Carlson is to try to act like it was a tourist visit, that the cops were just giving these people tours. They were lined up single file, taking selfies of one another and acting as though they had reverence and for the sacredness of the hallowed halls that they were trampling through. No talk of them pooping on the floor or vandalizing, causing millions of dollars in damage. No talk of the death and the violence and the carrying of weapons. None of that. No talk of bear macing, bear spraying cops. None of that. It was all peaceful. It was a tourist event. Don Jr.'s taken it even a step further, though. Don Jr. is acting as though the two pipe bombs that were left outside the Democratic National Committee and the Republican National Committee headquarters, he's acting like that didn't happen. That's a false flag. That just in case the insurrection didn't happen, they'd have this other narrative to talk about. So watch Don Jr. while he talks about it on his little channel.
They had the insurrection narrative. You notice how the bombers at the DNC and at the RNC, the guy that left pipe bombs there, just sort of disappeared from the news. It's like, you know what? In case there wasn't an insurrection or there wasn't something bad at the Capitol, they had that to fall back on to continue and perpetuate the evil narrative of what was going on that day. But since they were able to create and apparently manipulate footage of that day, as well as just have enough, outrage cycle and run with it, we can forget about the bomber. We don't really need that anymore. That was just sort of the backup plan if there wasn't enough insurrection created, in my mind. And that seems to be what has to have been done here. You see.
Did you catch that at the end? I mean, in my mind, it seems to be what's happening here. It's in my mind. Yeah, it's in his mind. In what world has the Capitol bomber or attempted Capitol bomber disappeared from the news? He acts like that everyone's complicit in this, that as soon as the insurrection stuck and that was what people heard, then no one talks about the MAGA bomber or that's a gentleman named Caesar Sayoc, the MAGA bomber who in to follow Donald Trump's calls for violence, sent pipe bombs to media organizations and private citizens all over the country with his van adorned in Donald Trump stickers. Not the MAGA bomber, the January 6th pipe bomber. Does he think that it disappeared? Because anywhere you go, people are asking the question, who is this? I mean, there's all kinds of theories out there about whether it's Marjorie Taylor Greene, which I don't necessarily buy. There was a person, and it does baffle me. I'm a little stymied by the fact that with all of the closed circuit television and cameras across the city of Washington, they lost track of this person. It bothers me a lot. But do I think it's a false flag? No. This is taken a sharp right turn into Alex Jones territory when you start, he didn't use the phrase false flag, but what he described by definition is that we needed a backup plan. Anybody who paid attention, there were intelligence failures all along the way. We knew what was being planned on January 6th. There were calls. Remember, it will be wild. Donald Trump wasn't calling Antifa to come to the Capitol. He was calling his low information, conspiracy prone audience to show up. And then when they got there, he sent them to the Capitol and said, I will go with you. And then he didn't. What other outcome could be expected? Don Jr., I'm asking you a question. What other outcome could have been expected? This is the state of the Republican Party today. This is mainstream Republicanism. Don Jr. is not an outlier. It's part and parcel, pattern and practice, standard operating procedure with what we witness on Fox News every single night. And we know now from the reporting that's been done, from the discovery that's been done in the Dominion defamation lawsuit, that even they didn't believe it, they just broadcast it. Now, who knows with Don Jr. whether he believes it? I would tend to think not, that he is also just playing a part. What do you think, though? Let's talk about this. We can mix it up in the comments. That would help the algorithm, but you can also, if the spirit moves you, call and leave me a brief voicemail, 714-576-4054. Of course, you can email me daily at dollemore.com. I'd love to hear from you. You can also follow me on social media. I am on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram as I fumble my words out, at Dollemore, all those places. And if you want to help support my work, become a channel member or go over to Patreon. You can click the join button to become a channel member. See what's involved. For $1.99, you can support and produce what I'm doing right here. Or you can go over to patreon.com/IDoubtIt which absolutely in no way is just for the podcast. It does help support the work here on YouTube. Anyway, I love you guys. I appreciate you very much. I'll see you next time. As I always do, be genuine. Take care of one another.